Hello and welcome back to our Okinawan Kempo YouTube channel showcasing some techniques of Kyo-Jute-Ru Kempo Bugei. Tonight is a big one because we come to the final of the empty hand principles, which is Toide. Toide is grappling skill that is based on karate technique and which relies on karate power development. Sadly, there's a lot of misinformation out there about that particular art. Real Toide is not prearranged, but just comes from the karate movements, and real Toide is smooth and round and is really closer to an Aiki Jujutsu than it is to anything hard. In our last video on Karate Jutsu, we were talking about the Kenda, which are crushing techniques, small, hard, harsh. The Toide is soft and it's round and it's smooth, but is powered by those karate techniques. The thing that I'll say about this before we look at a representative technique, one of the favorite things that my teacher ever said to me was, "Bob, there are no secrets. There are just things you wouldn't understand yet." The Soke said that to me years ago, and that is so true of this art. You need to study your karate well. You need to understand what your hands and your feet and your body is doing. You then need to study Jujutsu and Aiki Jujutsu. This is the most locked of the systems in Kyo-Jute-Ru, requiring a black belt in Kempo and Karate, in Jujutsu and in Aiki Jujutsu. And you need all that to where you can start looking for the places where the karate techniques, blocks, punches, kicks, can become throws, chokes, and joint locks. I could talk a lot about that, but I'm going to stop myself. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to take a simple representative technique, shito. So chop, the way that we teach it to beginners, is to block and load and then twist and chop. And you see that that is a very powerful movement. If he throws a roundhouse punch at me, I block and load. That chop is all about compressing his artery, about attacking his neck, about shocking the nerves and attacking even the spine, depending on what kind of penetration we get. So the power in that move, I'm going to throw it one more time, that's a big, strong, potentially deadly movement. How do we make grappling out of that? And the answer is the 5 approaches to Bunkai. The first approach is honte, which is the normal way. So I think about that move and how it looks and how it moves. I just do that. Let's say he's got me in a cross wrist grab, and I do the first part and the second part. And I'm using that chop to bring his arm down, okay? Next would be the yakute. If I think about that move traveling backwards, what can be done with it? And again, there are lots of things that can be done with it. This evening, what I'm seeing is a grip release. Give me a cross wrist grab. You draw the hand back and then use the coming up of the hand to disengage yourself from the other person. Next would be hinte, which is the changing skill. So for honte, when we're doing it normally, we really try to keep about the same shape, although there is some softening and rounding. If I were to change it, I might think about that chop, instead of it coming straight from the side, coming down at a 45-degree angle, or perhaps coming straight down. From that cross wrist grab, I can then change the movement. Maybe I come down at 45, and then I drop it and I press straight down, and then maybe drag it back some, and drag him forward some, and I can use the different angles of the chop to create slightly different techniques within that movement. Next, there's kakushite. Kakushite are techniques that are hidden. So things that are not obvious in the movement. when I think about a Kikushite for this move, put me in an overarms bear hug. If he grabs me here, if I drop my weight slightly and do that movement, I can peel his hands off of me. If I then secure a grip and think about that hand coming back to my side, I have him in something that's a little bit like a Sankyo. It's not Sankyo, but he's got the grin of approval there. Finally, there is Tsutemite, which is I take the move into a position that's not advantageous for me. So there's some risk involved here, but it opens up a new approach to the movement. So say, put your right foot forward. Say he was just reaching, that's not your right foot. Say he was reaching to choke me, and I disappear on him, and now in this weaker position, I can do that chop with my hand coming back and my hand executing the chop right here on his femoral nerve and make a nice little takedown out of that because I'm in this weakened position. Now, the final thing I'll say, that was all soft, that was all round, and that's how Toide is supposed to be. But remember, this is powered by karate. So to go back to the honte, just the basic movement, I do that slowly and smoothly, and we talked about that. But remember the initial move. That's the initial movement. When I'm executing this technique and I can't do it because he would come apart, when I apply pressure with the power of that karate technique. You can't do that safely. You'll take your partner apart. But the idea is that this is a yellow belt technique, guys. I could not begin to tell you how many times I have thrown that movement. Thrown it in karate, thrown it in Kempo, thrown it in teaching younger students and new students. If I come up with interesting and accessible grappling techniques that use that movement, I have the power of all those chops that I've thrown to shatter that arm, to break that wrist, to get out of that bear hug. And that's what Toide is all about. When I'm taking the karate that I've spent years working on, I use it to power novel grappling skill. That takes a long time. That's why it's the last art study. Not because it's secret, but you have to have a lot of existing knowledge to make meaning with it. We hope that you will like and subscribe and keep the questions coming. The final principle to talk about is weapons, and that's what we'll do the next time we're together. Thanks.